You've been moving through life half awake, your eyes open but dulled, your steps steady but without direction. And though you look fine on the outside, capable, even strong, inside you know the truth, a slow drift, a quiet erosion, the edges that once made you sharp fading. Comfort has crept in like a thief, convenience whispering, lies that discipline is optional, distraction dressing itself as rest. And somewhere along the way, you traded vigilance for numbness. You didn't collapse, you leaked. And you've been leaking ever since, losing the sharpness that once defined you. You keep performing, you work, you provide, you talk, you laugh. But underneath, your spirit is restless. You don't settle into peace, you sink into passivity, and passivity always takes more than it gives, stripping your honor, your clarity, and your integrity away piece by piece. Brother, you know the split I'm naming. The man you show, steady and respectable, and the man you owe, called to stand, bear, and fight. That gap between the two of them is widening, and the longer you let it grow, the more it slowly kills you inside. The truth is simple. Faith isn't a fleeting feeling, not a rush you chase in songs or words. Faith is demand, faith is weight, faith is structure. It's what you build around your life when emotions rise and fade. Faith is clarity, sharp and without excuses. But here's where you've fallen. You've tried to keep your faith soft, treating it like therapy instead of war, like comfort instead of call. That's why you're restless, because deep down you know God never called you to comfort, He called you to carry. You carry weight not because it feels good, but because it is yours. You stay steady not because it's convenient, but because it's demanded of you. And when you ignore that weight, when you numb that demand, you fracture. You split yourself in half. Brother, you've been drifting, and drift is apathy. Drift is cowardice dressed as peace. Drift is letting the fire die while you tell yourself you're still standing, but you know the truth. You feel it every time you're alone, every time the noise finally stops. It's not shame you feel, it's anger, not the kind that destroys but the kind that wakes. That anger isn't poison, it's signal, it's the fire inside that says no more. No more half-living, no more split man, no more pretending that discipline is optional. Channel it, not at others, not at circumstance, not at yourself. Aim it at the passivity that's been bleeding you dry, at the apathy that's numbed your faith, at the excuses that keep you soft. Aim it sharply and relentlessly where it truly belongs. Because manhood dies where discipline dies, integrity dies where apathy rules, faith collapses where comfort becomes king. But strength, real strength, returns the moment you refuse drift, the moment you breathe deep, open your eyes, and finally face what you've been running from. Brother, your gaze is not decoration, it's a fist. When your eyes are steady, sober, unflinching, they strike through apathy, cut through excuses, they declare to the world and to yourself that you're finished running, that you're finally standing where you belong. The altar is not escape, not therapy, not a place for fragile men. The altar is war, where responsibility is claimed, where lies are stripped, where integrity is reforged. It is the ground where men either rise in strength or collapse into emptiness forever. So I'm not calling you to feel or perform. I'm calling you to stand, to open your eyes, to face yourself, to reclaim what you traded away for ease, to return to the hard discipline that makes you whole and keeps you unshaken before storms. This is not guilt, it's clarity. It's about taking the anger, the restlessness, the hunger, and setting it under God's weight until it becomes strength. It's about choosing structure over drift, purpose over numbness, and steady open eyes over false sleep. Brother, breathe now, steady, deep. This is not the end. This is the line, the moment where the man you pretend to be meets the man you owe. and I refuse to let you keep running away from that inevitable meeting any longer. So hold your ground, lift your eyes, set your jaw. This is not noise, this is not performance. This is the call, the summons that strips away pretense. And in the very next breath, we step into prayer, into war, into the place where men rise unbroken. Get ready, because the time for drift is finished. The time for passivity is over. This is the threshold, the last line before the battle. And in the breath that follows, you will choose war, you will choose fire, you will choose prayer, beginning here now. Now let's pray. Father, I come before you with my eyes open, steady, refusing to hide behind closed lids or vague words. I bring myself restless and fractured, worn from passivity, confessing the comfort I chased and the many excuses I rehearsed. I confess the softness that has taken root in me. I name it sin, not mere weakness, for you did not design me to drift or live half awake. You called me to bear weight, to stand resolute, to fight against the slow erosion of character. So I renounce the passivity that bled me dry. I refuse false peace that numbed my faith, reject cowardice cloaked as rest, and ask the Lord to strip these comforts away entirely, so I might be made clean, sober, and unshaken in conscience. Wash my conscience with the blood of Christ until it is clear and unquestionable. Grant me courage not as a passing feeling, but as a steady choice to do unseen work. Speak truth when silence tempts, and lead where following would be easier. Begin at home. Teach me to love sacrificially, to serve without applause, to discipline my body and habits for the sake of those under my care. Train me to carry well, to be humble in strength, and to stand with wisdom in everyday duties. I ask for discipline, Father, a will sharpened by obedience, a body trained to resist ease, a mind fixed on truth, because without discipline faith grows shallow, words grow hollow, and manhood collapses into excuse and drift rather than duty and endurance. Set boundaries around me I will not cross. Guard my speech from flattery and lies. Protect my steps from wandering into shadows. Anchor me in daily practice whether I feel it or not, making routine the scaffolding of character rather than whim or comfort. Take this anger, Lord, the fire that rises when I see how far I fell, and aim it rightly, not at others nor at myself, but at the apathy and laziness that have sapped my strength, until it burns clean and fuels obedience rather than destruction. Let my gaze be a fist, open, steady, unflinching, striking through deception and excuses. Teach me to look forward, not sideways, keeping eyes fixed on you and the weight assigned, so my vision becomes discipline and my stare rends away every soft excuse. Today I choose structure over drift, truth over numbness, responsibility over ease. I refuse weakness disguised as peace and seal these choices with commitment. Daily practice, consistent prayer, honest speech, deliberate acts of love that cost, but bind me to covenant and integrity. Father, shape me into a man whose word is clean, whose presence brings steadiness and whose strength serves others. Form me to stand when storms break, not by my sufficiency, but because you are with me, firm, present, unshaken, and true. Form me to carry weight without complaint, to keep clear eyes and dignified endurance. Let my life reflect the covenant I offer, small, consistent duties that rebuild what broke, tend what remains, and strengthen the inner citadel against future rot and drift. I will become steadier with my family, braver in friendships, and cleaner in my work. I will refuse easy excuses, face hard truth, make restitution where required, and act promptly when duty calls so promises are fulfilled, not deferred ever. Now the prayer rests in chosen action. The quiet becomes a forge where heart, hands, and daily hours are bound to intent. I walk out steadier, eyes open, ears tuned, feet planted, refusing to wander back into drift or the small compromises that broke me. Let my words be clear and my steps steady. Let my heart remain faithful and my spirit alert. No more drift, no more excuses, no more softness. I accept the burden, embrace the call, and take up the battle the Lord assigns with sober courage. Here I stand, open-eyed and ready. I am not what I was yesterday, nor will I return to weakened habits. This is the moment I rise, choosing clarity, responsibility, and faith sharpened into action, a steady life where promises hold and weakness diminishes. I mark this moment as a dividing line. I step forward reclaimed, breathing steady and deep, not performing but deciding, entering covenant. I vow with open eyes to repair what broke, to tend what remains, and to live the oath I lay before God. This is the end of drift, the burial of passivity, the beginning of war and structure, strength forged under God's weight. I stand at the altar with fire embraced, committing to no turning back, walking steady into practice, obedience, and lasting integrity. Amen. The prayer is closed now, and what remains is not a moment or a feeling, but a strict structure I will live by. I tell you plainly, you are a man, a protector, a builder, a servant, names that will ground every step you take. Each morning you will be measured by small things. Whether you rise early because it sets order, whether your eyes stay open and steady refusing half sleep, whether your word stands when pressure comes. These daily measures will define your return to disciplined life. The world does not hand you honor. It watches and waits, testing the quiet strength you carry. And when you show up steady and disciplined without show or performance, you become the man storms cannot bend, the one who stands when others stagger. So rise early, look forward, hold your gaze steady. Do the work that belongs to you without applause or shortcuts. Guard the threshold of your home. Protect the small habits that keep drift from returning, and make these quiet practices your armor each day. When you walk into work, bring presence, not noise. Let men feel steadiness in your posture. Let women sense safety in the way you carry yourself. Let children see clarity in your decisions. And let all of them learn from quiet weight of your life. Return at night accountable. Do not close the day without facing its truth. Ask if you stood where you swore to stand. Check whether you kept the vow you made before God. And let this nightly honesty serve as armor against relapse into drift. You are not called to perfect holiness, but to presence and discipline. You are the man who does not collapse when comfort tempts or fear whispers, whose strength will be measured by endurance and faithful practice rather than speech or momentary feeling. Keep your word even when it costs. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. Live truth where you speak it. Deliver when you promise. Face failures openly. Repair damage without theatrics. Rise again resolved, and let this repair be your testimony. Tomorrow waits, and it will not lower its weight for you. You are not stepping back into drift or hiding or excusing. You are showing up present and awake. And that constancy is the only life that will sustain the man you are becoming. So hold this line without theatrics and without noise. Choose clarity, discipline, and presence in the small hours and the small actions. For the man you owe is the man you must become, and this steady practice is the way you will arrive. Rise early, set your eyes forward, and work with quiet insistence. Do not seek applause, but seek fidelity. Refuse shortcuts. Make small sacrifices habitual. And let these daily refusals to drift accumulate into a life that cannot be shaken by passing storms. Guard thresholds with simple rituals. Rise, steady gaze, honest labor, evening accounting. These are not grand ceremonies but structural habits that protect households, sharpen decisions, and keep the man at home and at work disciplined, present, and able to carry responsibility without collapse. Lead quietly. Let your family feel security in steady decisions rather than loud promises. Let friends see reliability in acts. Let your vocation be a field where you build rather than a stage where you perform. And measure success by duty fulfilled, not applause received. Return nightly and account. Do not let the day close until you have faced its choices, confessed failures, repaired breaches, and set plans for small corrections. Because nightly accounting will keep your trajectory true and prevent the slow drift back into old habits. You will not be perfect, but you will be present. When comfort tempts and fear whispers, you will stand because your discipline is chosen and practiced, not fleeting. And over time, these chosen repetitions will become the spine that holds you upright under pressure. Keep your word when it costs, Make your yes mean yes and your no mean no. Repair quickly when you fail. Do not hide, own the work of restoration. And let this stubborn honesty build reputations stronger than any claim of virtue. Tomorrow will demand you. Do not expect mercy from life's weight. Expect instead the discipline you have chosen, the rituals you keep, the steady presence you bring to family and work. And remember, staying faithful is an act of courage, not ease. Hold this charge quietly. Keep your word, show up tomorrow, stand where you belong. Let structure, courage, and presence be the small ritual you practice daily, the honest measure by which your life will be known, and the legacy you hand to those who follow.